Good morning. Thanks for joining us at Urban Yoga for Morning Flow. We'll start out seated today, and you don't have to sit exactly how I'm sitting, adjusting my position for the camera. Sit in a way that's comfortable to you. So maybe that looks like this, maybe it's different. Feel into the grounding of your seat, your contact with the floor, and think of the length of your spine. Think of the crown of your head reaching up towards the ceiling as you inhale. So we sit up nice and tall without being stiff or rigid. Do what you like with your hands, whatever's comfortable. Palms down can help with grounding, palms up, receptivity, maybe just hands in your lap. Close your eyes if you like. Focus on your breathing, allowing it to slow down and get deeper. As you settle into some degree of stillness, making any little adjustments to remain comfortable. Just by paying attention to your breathing, it slows down, it gets deeper. The stillness helps. Closing the eyes can help. Tapping into these feedback loops that are always there, whether we're consciously paying attention or not. Deeper breathing helps the body to relax. A relaxed body can be more comfortably still. Comfortable stillness helps with deeper breathing, and on and on and on. Observe the motions of your breath and the way that they feel. Take in where you notice each inhale and each exhale. Maybe where you feel the breath changes as the breaths get longer. And maybe these deeper breaths start to bring other sensations that weren't there a minute ago. Scan your body and take in whatever sensations are present for you. Maybe sensations that were there before you started to focus on your breathing. Maybe feelings that aren't affected by the inhales and the exhales, but just remain constant on their own. Take particular note of anything that feels sore or stiff, any trouble spots that are speaking up as you listen into your body. Noting these things so that you can take care of any such issues, any trouble spots. Exercising the freedom to skip or modify any portion of this practice. Everything but the breathing is optional. By heeding what your body tells you and taking what you want, leaving the rest, substituting things in, you can find the practice that's best for you. What's best for me might not be best for you. Perhaps in addition to these shared intentions of listening to your body and taking care of yourself, you are in the habit of setting a personal intention for your own practice, something specific to you, something you might have had in mind before I ever started speaking. Another reminder for yourself, something to come back to as a point of focus when your mind inevitably wanders. If this is part of your practice to set an intention, take the time to do so now. And with our shared and individual intentions in place, let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth with a sighing sound. Allow your eyes to float open if they're still closed. Let's start at the bottom today, starting with the feet and the legs. I sometimes say that our feet do a lot for us, we don't do much for them. So I'm sitting cross-legged, I'm just gonna grab the leg that's in front. Grab one of your legs, doesn't matter which one. And with the opposite hand, interlace your fingers between your toes, not neglecting to get the pinky toe and the pinky finger involved there. Trickier when you have big fingers, big hands. Let the weight of your leg be supported by your arm. Let your ankle be slack and let your other hand do the work of some nice, slow, gentle circles with your foot. Take a few in each direction. And then release your toes. Support that leg with both arms. I like to do this and interlace my fingers, but it doesn't work for everybody. Let the weight of your leg hang in your arms and make some circles with your leg, rocking your femur around in your hip socket. Change direction, take a few circles the other way. And let that leg down. Lift the other one. Let the ankle hang. Get the fingers between the toes. Make a few slow, gentle circles in each direction. Lots of small bones in the feet and ankles and hands. Lots of tendons. Complex parts. And lots of nerves too. There's an acupressure aspect to this too. Just pressing your hands to your feet. Release your toes. Cradle your leg. Make some slow, gentle circles. In each direction. And let your leg down. Rest your hands on your knees. We'll take some seated cow and cat-like movements. Inhale, draw your heart forward, let your head tip back. Exhale, draw your heart back, let your head tip forward and down. Just following the pace of your breath. Perhaps your breaths are longer or shorter than mine. Just try to use the whole inhale to come forward and use the whole exhale to go back, rounding your spine. After your next exhale, sit up tall again. Bring your hands to rest at your sides, maybe just your fingertips on the ground so you stay long in the spine. Inhale, lift your left arm up alongside your ear. And as you exhale, reach across to the right. Lean into your right hand. Feel for lengthening from your left hip up through your left fingertips. Allow your head to just be wherever your neck is comfortable. With an inhale, bring yourself upright. As you exhale, we'll come into a twist. Bring your left hand to the floor behind you. Bring your right hand across to your left leg. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, ask your body if it wants to twist some more. Just exploring how much seems like enough, working your way up from the waist. Maybe the shoulder goes a little further. Maybe your head turns a bit too. Let yourself unwind and come back. Inhaling, raise your right arm up alongside your ear. Exhaling, reach across to the left. Breathing deeply into your right side. Inhale to bring yourself upright, and as you exhale, come into your other twist. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, see about twisting some more. And let yourself unwind, come back to center, and let's come up onto our hands and knees. Open your hands way up, feel your whole palms on the ground. Stack your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. They call it table pose or box pose. Think of those right angles, squared off shapes. And take a few cow-cat breaths here. Inhale, bring your heart forward, let your head and tailbone go up. Exhale, draw your heart up, let your head, tailbone come down. And notice, are you getting a bigger range of motion here than you were seated? What feels different? If anything, maybe it feels pretty much the same to you. What I notice is that, well, my tailbone can move more freely when you're sitting, of course. The lower part of you isn't moving as much because you're on the ground. And after your next exhale, come back to table. Reach your left foot back and press into the ball of your foot. Push your heel out away from your tailbone, letting your leg lengthen for a couple of breaths. With an inhale, pick your foot up and reach straight back like you want to make a footprint on the wall back there. With the next inhale, reach your right arm out to the side like you want to touch the other wall with those fingertips. If you like, bend that raised leg, reach that hand back, see if you can connect, taking hold of your foot or your ankle. If you get that bind, kick against your hand, raise your knee, raise your head a little, opening your midline and right shoulder, and stretching the left quadriceps. Release the bind. If you're in the bind, let your hand and your knee back down. Reach back and press into the ball of your right foot. Let that leg lengthen out. With an inhale, pick your foot up and reach straight back. With the next inhale, reach your left arm to the side. Feel your core going to work, body balancing, wobbling a little. If you like, bend your leg, reach back, see about that bind and those additional stretches. Release and lower down. And step your left foot up between your hands. Step your right foot up to meet it. Hang out in forward fold. Head and arms heavy. Exploring movement as you like, swaying back and forth, bending and straightening your legs, a little or a lot as you like.
Que sí nos llegaron a nosotros. Y como dato interesante, Japón y México.
Shake your head no. And nod your head yes. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, roll up to standing, hands above your head. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Let your hands hang by your sides. Lift your left shoulder towards your ear. slide it back and let it come down. And then your right shoulder up and back and down. Inhale, reach out toward the wall, spread your wings. As you exhale, reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself, or if you like, take eagle arms, twining your arms together, pressing your palms together. If you're taking eagle, then move your elbows and your hands up and out. Further opening that big space between the shoulder blades, the back of your heart. On an inhale, spread your wings again. As you exhale, cross your arms the opposite way. Hug yourself or take eagle. Some big, deep breaths for the heart space. Inhale, open. Exhale, let your arms come down. Inhale your arms out and up overhead. Interlace your fingers, flip your palms up, look up at your hands, lift up your heart. With an inhale, bring yourself upright. As you exhale, bend to the right, feel the length through both arms. See if you can keep the left heel on the ground and see if you can keep the left shoulder back in line with the ear. Sometimes it wants to curl forward, past the ear. Inhale to come upright. As you exhale, bend to the left. Keeping right shoulder back and right heel grounded. Inhale to come up. Exhale, let your arms come down. Now we'll start into a few sun salutations. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Pardon me. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, make your way to a plank. I like to take a few breaths in the first plank and really feel into that plank shape. Feel your hips coming down in line with your shoulders and your heels. You can always opt for a shorter plank and drop your knees, and then your hips will be in line with your shoulders and your knees. With an exhale, slowly lower all the way down. Keep your elbows in close to your body. See how slow you can go. And don't stop breathing. If you go really slowly, maybe you need to take another breath or even two. Let everything down. Rest your chin on the ground and untuck your toes. Press into your hands and inhale to lift the head and chest. So maybe just a low cobra, low heart opener to begin. Anytime we come through this series, take the height of heart opener that is right for you. Listen to your low back. So cobra would be anything from here through here with the knees down. And when you're ready for it, you could lift your knees and then that's your upward facing dog. But usually on the first one, we're down here. They're all heart openers. They're all good. Exhale, rock back, pass through table. Slowly going to the first downward dog, curling your toes under. Press into your feet to lift your knees. Press into your hands to lift your tail. And walk your dog. Heels moving up and down, coming closer and closer to the ground. Everything throughout the back of your body lengthening as your tailbone reaches up. Make sure your head is just hanging, your neck is disengaged. Maybe you sway from one hip to the other. Whatever movements help you settle into that first downward facing dog. First one's always a bit different. Inhale to bend your knees and look forward. Exhale, come back to forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Inhale all the way up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale your arms up again. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands and step back to plank. When you're ready, exhale, lower halfway this time, elbows in. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, back and up. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, come down. Inhale all the way up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Make your way to your plank. When you're ready, exhale, lower. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, back and up. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, all the way up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Pause for a sip of water. Take your drink whenever you need. Now we'll start to move on to some other things. Mix it up a bit. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Now plant your hands and just step your right foot back, runner's lunge. So back heel is raised, all 10 of your toes pointing in the same direction. 10 to your fingers, and blocks can be a good help here too. If you like to use blocks, it gives you a little more room between your leg and your chest here. 10 to your fingers, you can do that whether you're on blocks or not. Give you a little more height. Inhale, reach forward, reach up. And then find steadiness in your feet and legs. Maybe wiggle your feet. I'm sort of widening my stance here so I feel steadier. Think of dropping an anchor from your pelvis to the ground. And we're going to float up and down to rock in our hips like this. Exhale, sink forward, lower your arms. Inhale, glide up. And the leg movement can be as big or small as you want. And I'm rotating my arms too. So as my arms come down, I turn my palms towards the ground. As my arms come up, I turn my palms in towards each other. If the high lunge is too much, you can do the same rocking movement with the back knee down. You could uncurl the back toes and do like that. So know that that option is there. You can always come down lower. Maybe you have knee trouble. Maybe it's just too wobbly, just too much too soon for you. Lots of great core engagement and balancing here. From the top of the movement, let's twist. Reach your left hand forward, reach your right hand back, and twist to the right. Maybe that's where you get more wobbly and decide to drop the back knee. You can always bring one hand to this leg too for steadiness. Come back through center and twist the other way. Come back through center. Exhale to bring your hands down. And step your left foot back to meet your right. Downward facing dog. And note, I'm using the blocks here. You don't have to do that. It's a different feeling. Changes the angle of the V shape that I'm in. And it makes it easier to get the heels down. It also makes it easier to do the next transition when I inhale, bend my knees, look forward, and step forward. More room between the torso and the knees. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, come down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale up again. Exhale down again. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, come down. Plant your hands and step your left foot back. Runner's lunge. 10 to your fingers. Inhale, reach forward, reach up, crescent lunge. Find steadiness in your feet and legs. Think of dropping that anchor when you're ready and you're steady. Exhale, sink forward. Inhale, glide up. Movement and breath flowing smoothly, continuously. And each side will be different, maybe a little different, maybe so little a difference you don't notice, maybe very different. If you have a knee that acts up, sometimes one side you do the high lunge, sometimes the other side you do the lower lunge. Both my knees act up. Fortunately, they take turns. And today, neither of them are doing it, so can manage the high lunge on both sides. Every day is an exploration. From the top, twist to your left. Come back through center and twist to your right. Come back through center. Exhale, bring your hands down and step your right foot back to meet your left and downward facing dog. Nod your head. Shake your head. And take 3 cleansing breaths. Gently let your knees come down. And we're going to take a short break in child's pose. So untuck your toes, bring your big toes to touch. If you like, you can send your knees out wider. If you have knee trouble, it might feel better to keep them closer together. Sit back towards your heels. Walk your hands forward and let your head come down. So options here, variations you might do. You might keep reaching forward and stay engaged, or you can disengage your arms. If your head doesn't really reach the floor, you might stack your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. You can also rest your forehead on a prop. You want your head to touch down so your neck can disengage. So if your head's hanging in the air, your neck is doing some work there. And if you want to give your arms a break, you might, instead of reaching your hands forward, reach your hands back by your feet like that. Disengage your arms and shoulders. And just surrender to breath and gravity. If you have reached your hands back, reach them forward again. And we're going to inhale, come back up through table. And when you're ready, slowly make your way back to downward facing dog again. Inhaling, raise your left leg straight up behind you. Keep the leg long and stack your hips. Left hip above right hip. Look under your left arm. And square your hips down. Exhaling, draw your knee towards your left elbow. Inhale, reach your leg up again. Exhale, draw your knee towards your nose and plant your foot. We are back at runner's lunge. Lean your weight into your right hand. And here, you can always use blocks anytime we're in lunging. I'm going to use them here. Lean your weight into the right hand. And inhaling, reach your left arm forward. Reach it up towards the ceiling. Reach it back towards your right foot. Exhale, reach up and reach forward and reach down. And let's do that 2 more times. Really ground your hand when you get to the end of the exhale too. Inhale, forward, up, back. Exhale, up, forward, down. Inhale up and back. Exhale up and down. And let's check out some twisting here. Still leaning into the right hand. Inhale, reach the left arm out to the side and up. Picture it stacked above the right hand and look up towards the left hand. And if you want to here, you might play with holding your arm to your low back and peeling that shoulder back some more. Bring your hand back down to the ground or the block. Step your left foot back to meet your right, down dog. Inhale, raise your right leg up. Stack your hips and look under your right arm. Square your hip down. Exhale, draw your knee forward. Plant your foot in runner's lunge. Lean the weight into your left hand. Inhale, reach forward, reach up, reach back. Exhale, reach up and forward and down. 2 more breaths, 2 more times. That circular motion backward and forward. And then inhale, reach your arm out to the side and up towards the ceiling, stacked above the left hand. Look up towards the right. Maybe take that half bind if you like how that feels. Exhaling, bring the hand back down. Step right foot back to meet left. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale to come forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Quick drink, check on the time. We're doing well, we're halfway done, a little more than halfway done. Let's play with some balancing. So we're gonna work on maybe standing on one foot. You might keep both feet down depending on where you're at. But if you know balancing is tricky for you, you might step over by the wall or step over by a piece of furniture that's nearby so you can grab onto something and steady yourself as needed. Bring your hands to your heart. Set your gaze on something at eye level that's not going to move. And start to shift your weight from one leg to the other with your feet on the ground. Shift all the weight into your right leg. Pick up your left knee. Maybe your thigh comes parallel to the ground. Think of opening a door, bring your knee out to the side. And then you're going to bring your foot to the opposite leg. So might be the ball of your foot on the ground and your heel on your ankle. The knee is tracking out to the side. Maybe the sole of your foot rests on your calf. Those shapes fit nicely together for many of us. You can also put your foot on your thigh. You just don't want to press into the side of your knee. It's better to stay on your calf than be pressing on your knee, thinking or hoping that you're pressing on your thigh. And your hands can stay here. This can be wonderfully steadying to press your hands to your sternum and press them together. Or this is tree pose, and the branches of your tree can be any shape that you want. And there might be breeze in your branches, or maybe your tree is more still. You can do anything you want with your hands and your arms, explore vines, different expressions. You can be a dancing tree. And you can put the foot down and pick it up anytime you like. If you fall, you're human. If you get up, you're a yogi. I heard that from Becky Thompson, the first teacher to really inspire me when I was new at this practice. If your hands are elsewhere, bring them back to your heart again. Pivot your knee forward. Let your foot down. Shake out that right leg. Shake out anything that wants to shake. I enjoy just giving everything a little shake. And it's okay if that leads to a little dance. When you're ready, bring your hands back to your heart, reset your gaze, shift back and forth a few times to reset your hips and reground your feet. As many times as you like. When you're ready, bring the weight to your left leg, let the knee stay soft and responsive. Pick up the right knee, open it out to the side, bring your foot to your left leg. And take whatever arm expression you like. Again, it might be the same thing, it might be something different. I like to play with binds. I like this one because it feels good in my back. Make sure you're breathing. Sometimes we're sort of trying too hard or something and we stop breathing. And that doesn't help. It's just something we do. We do silly things. We don't know why we do that. But all the trees need air, regardless of the shape of your tree, what your branches are doing. Sometimes you need to reposition your foot. See, my foot didn't want to stay on my thigh, so I'll just come down to my calf. Bring your hands back to your heart if they're elsewhere. And pivot your knee forward and let your foot down and shake things out. And we'll play with another balance now. A little more challenging, starts out the same way. Hands at your heart. Shift back and forth a couple of times with your feet planted. We'll explore this other more challenging balance and just see how we do. It's always an exploration. I don't know how far or how well it's going to go until I'm in the middle of it. Bring the weight into your left leg. Pick up your right knee. Keeping your left hand at your heart, bring your right hand down to your right foot or right leg. So I'm going to grab my big toe because I need that. I know that that works for me. You could grab the inside of your foot, the outside of your foot, your shin, your calf. You can grab behind your knee. Whatever you like. Pressing your hand to your sternum will help you keep steady. And you want to stay long in the spine, grounded in the left foot. Reach the right foot forward to wherever you can. So my leg's not going to get straight, but it's lengthened, and my arm is lengthened. And if you can open the gate of your hip, bring those limbs over here, and you might reach the opposite arm out to the side. Breathing, balancing, wobbling, laughing, shaking, maybe falling. Falling is just part of the practice. Now, if you can, you want to like rewind everything slowly with control. Find the strength and the slowness. Shake things out. Never say gracefully. Sometimes it's not as smooth as that just was. Slowly is a relative term. Smoothly is a relative term. When you're ready, bring your hands to your heart. Shift from one side to the other, feet on the ground. Do that as many times as you like. When you're ready, bring the weight to the other leg. Raise your knee. Let your hands come down. Find your grip. Everyone's got different proportion of arms and legs, so what works for me might not work for you. There's nothing wrong with just grabbing behind your knee if that's what's doable for you. When and if you're ready, open out. Reach in the opposite direction. So if you look at this in the textbook, you might see someone with their legs straight and their arms straight. That's not me. Not making a textbook here. Just seeing what I can do. There's a little more length. Probably still not straight. Rewind with whatever degree of control you can muster. Shake it out. I really enjoy shaking my face. I don't know why. Let's have a seat and give those hard-working legs a break. And we'll do some forward folds. So the first one is basically the same shape as the fold that we do during the sun salutations, just turned 90 degrees. So as if your feet are planted on the ground, legs long, feet reaching back towards you, toes reaching back towards you. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. And if your knees want to bend, let them bend. And see what you can do with your breath to explore deepening the fold. As you inhale, think of the crown of your head coming forward. As you exhale, think of lowering some more. Feeling for release in your lower back. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit yourself up. Now let your arms help your legs. Open your legs out as far as you can without strain. The edge of your comfort zone. Letting your arms help your legs bend your right leg and bring your foot over to your left leg. Pivot your torso towards your left foot. Flex your left foot back towards you. If it doesn't feel good to have your knee hanging here like this, you might put support under your knee. Some folks, that doesn't feel good in the hip to let the leg hang out there. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold down over your leg. Exploring with the breath again. Inhale, think of the crown of your head coming forward. Exhale, think of lowering some more. Bring your right hand in towards your heart and reach it out to the side. And then rotate your arm. So your thumb is down, your palm is pointing back. And then bring your arm to your lower back and peel that right shoulder back. So I'm pressing the back of my hand to my sternum. Maybe your hand lands in a different place. Some folks like to bend the elbow more and slide the hand up, further up the back. See what you like. Play with different positions for that hand and that arm. What works for you? Maybe you just find you can scratch a spot between your shoulder blades you didn't know you could reach. Extend your arm back to the side. Rotate your palm forward. Reach your arm up alongside your head and over your head in the direction of the other arm. Reach your arm up and back out to the side. Bring it back by your chest. And bring right hand over by left hand. Walk both hands up your leg. Arms help the legs. Extend the right leg. Bend the left leg. Bring the foot over. Pivot your torso. Flex your right foot. Inhale to reach up. And exhale to fold down. Exploring for a few breaths. Deepening the fold as you're able. Slowly bring your left hand in by your heart. Reach it out to the left. Rotate your arm. Bring it to your low back. And peel that left shoulder back. Extend your arm again. Rotate your palm forward. Reach your arm up and over. And what we're doing here with this complex movement, this particular extension, is undoing compression in the middle of your lower back, above your sacrum, an area that gets compressed when we are sitting a lot, sitting for extended periods of time, as so many of us are doing these days. So this is a great thing to do every day. Even if you don't have time for an hour of yoga, take a couple minutes and do this. Your back will thank you. Bring your arm back up, back out, back through center, over by the other arm, and walk your hands up your leg. Arms helping the legs. Extend the left. Nudge the legs towards each other and bring the soles of your feet together with your heels a good distance away from your pelvis. If there's room to do so, slide your hands under your ankles and grab the floor. If you can't manage that, that's all right. You can reach over your ankles and grab the floor. Either way, you then walk your hands forward so your arms traction you down into this pretzel-looking fold. And lastly, let your neck disengage, let your head drop. Breathe into that spot in the center of your lower back. Start to slide your hands back and press away from the floor, press up to a seat. With the soles of your feet together, now bring them in close. Bring your heels as close in as you can. Interlace your fingers and wrap them around the tops of your toes. Wriggle on your seat. Bring your bones in your seat closer to the ground. Inhaling, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, keeping your spine long at first. Maybe elbows pressing to the inside of the legs to nudge the legs open and the hips. Nudge the legs down, nudge the hips open. And when the long spine isn't lowering anymore like this, then let your neck go and let your head hang down and breathe into your hips. Inhale, slowly sit yourself up. Let your arms help your legs. Lift your knees towards each other and rest the soles of your feet on the ground. Rest your hands on the ground out past your hips. Wiggle your feet further apart if you're on a yoga mat, maybe to the edges of your mat. And let your knees float back and forth to whatever degree they can. It's like taking a tour of the space you've cleared in your hips. And maybe as your knees go to one side, you turn your head to the other. Knees and head passing each other at center. That might feel nice. And then we're going to lower down to the ground and play with bridge pose. If you have blocks, you might use blocks to help you explore bridge pose. I'm going to. You don't have to have blocks to do it. You first set one between your feet in this position. If you don't have blocks, you can do this with your hands and put your hands between the tops of your feet, and it's about the same width, and that's about the width that there is between your hip sockets. And I'm not going to leave the block there because I'm going to play with it somewhere else. So I'm just going to keep my feet there. Hands behind you, scoot your butt towards your heels. Come down onto your forearms, down onto your back. Now, depending on how many blocks you got and what options you like, you might leave one between your feet. I have two handy, and I have other plans for them. You want to end up with your heels as close to your butt as you can get them. So I'm scooting mine straight back a bit, keeping that same space. And now I'm going to put the block between my knees in the same position. My ankles and my knees and my hips will all be about the same distance apart, making for a stabler movement. Press into the soles of your feet. Inhale to press your hips up. And there's bridge pose. If you want to go further here, you can wiggle your shoulder blades towards each other under you. Clasp your hands and reach your knuckles towards your heels, like that. Deeper heart opener. Make sure your neck is relaxed, not scrunched up. Make sure you're breathing, whether your hands are clasped or not. So knees are sort of tracking forward in the direction of the toes, knees staying lined up with ankles and hips. If you're clasping your hands, release them. Exhaling slowly, come down. How slow can you go? Now you can explore bridge on your own, inhaling to go up and exhaling to go down. To make it more challenging, you might lift up higher or move more slowly. Take some extra breaths at the top. You could repeat, moving your shoulder blades in, clasping your hands, doing that. To make it less challenging, you might take some extra breaths down at the bottom of the movement. Or you might opt for what we call supported bridge, which is lifting up, putting a block under your sacrum, coming to rest on the block, and just letting the block do the work. This can bring some nice release in the pelvis and lower back. Most folks will find the block in the low setting is right here. You can do it on the middle, more intense. It's kind of rare that you see someone standing the block in the tall position for supported bridge. I've tried it just once, and I'll tell you why just once. When you're in supported bridge of any height, in order to come out of that posture, you need to go a little higher. So it felt neat to have the tall block under me, but then when it was time to come out and I had to lift up off it, that did not feel good. So I never did it again. Occasionally I'll do this with the block in the middle position. Most commonly we use the low position. So you can explore bridge actively or passively, but that's probably enough bridge for today. Let's wrap it up. Make the next exhale down. Be your last one. Pause after you land, grounding your sacrum. If you were playing with blocks, you can move them out of the way here. I'm going to play today with a strap. Now, maybe you don't have a yoga strap. It's a long web belt, usually with 2 D-rings on the end. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could use a very handy thing is the belt off your bathrobe is good, or you could even use another kind of belt or a bath towel. But what we want to do is have something that you can run under your feet and take one end in each hand, or some folks, if it's a strap, they like to make a loop out of the strap. So anything that's about that long. Maybe you have 2 belts and you hook them together to get one that long. Maybe you just have a piece of rope. But something like this. So arms and legs extended, but I'm grounded. My sacrum, my shoulder blades, my head are all on the ground. I want to keep all that on the ground. Point your toes up at the ceiling. And then flex your feet. Point your toes down towards you. Let your feet relax. And I'm going to spin myself, realizing something about the camera and the angle of view. So a little adjustment here for the camera. So going to take your right leg out and lower it down along the ground. Oh, that's not going to work. The Zoom experiment continues. So one leg down on the ground and the other leg up. So I have my right leg down, my left leg up. Thought I had a bright idea there, but it wasn't workable. Hold both parts of the strap or your loop if you're in a loop with the right hand. Reach your left arm out to the side. You want to keep your shoulders on the ground and bring your leg over to the right and turn your head to the left. And just see what your breath does. Wringing you out, maybe. The leg will go a little lower. But you're not yanking the leg with the strap. It's a guiding support. I'm not forcing it to come down. I'm inviting it to come down. Maybe it's not going to go down any further than that today. I just pressed my left shoulder blade back down because I felt that it was lifting. I feel it blocked by my toes. I'll kick it out of the way. So both legs are long. This is some great action in the hips and the outer leg. And sometimes you could do this for 2 minutes in each position and feel some really neat release. We won't do that. Won't do it for that long today. Come back to center, bring your head back to center line and your arm and your leg. Now grab the strap with the other hand, your left hand. Press your right hand down on the front of your right hip bone to keep that hip anchored. So you want to keep that right cheek on the ground. You're going to let those limbs fall to the left, but keep that right hip anchored. Now, some folks don't like how it feels to have this leg hanging in the air. You could slide a block under the outside of your leg to catch your weight, or if you don't have a block, a pillow, a folded blanket or something. I don't mind how it feels with the leg hanging there, but some people find it unsettling. Keeping the right hip anchored, because if the right hip lifts, if the right cheek lifts off the ground, then the pelvis is rolling to the left. And as the pelvis rolls, the left hip isn't opening in the same way that it is here with my right side grounded. And there it is. My leg has just touched down. Now that doesn't always happen. So we just see how far it goes on any given day. I did this yesterday. This side gave me a lot of trouble. Today it's much, much better. And even after the leg touches down, if it does, you can still start to feel some more release if you spend a few more breaths there. Now to come out of this one, you want to go very gently and slowly. Bring those limbs back to center line. Now, because of the way my setup is here, I need to do a 180. You don't need to do this. I'm going to run out of room and kick the wall if I don't do that. So now lift your right leg up, step your right foot into the strap. Take your left foot out and lower your left leg down. Holding the strap with your left hand, reach your right arm to the side. Let your leg come over to the left and turn your head to the right. Just breathing and seeing what happens. See where some more release comes. Keeping the shoulder blades anchored. Maybe the leg drops some more. Using the strap as a gentle guiding friend, not as a harsh boss. I've been doing this sequence for years. I learned a bit about doing 2 minutes in each position right in this room from my colleague Jen Clark. And found too that if you do it at the beginning of your practice, it's a very different experience than doing it at the end of the practice. Slowly bring your head and your limbs back to center line. Take the strap in your right hand. Press your left hand down on the front of your left hip bone. Let your limbs fall open to the right. Keeping the left hip down, left cheek on the ground. See what happens. Now, if you haven't done this before and your leg's not going very far, that is perfectly standard. The first few times I did this, I did not find it all that pleasant, and my leg did not go very far on this outward portion of the sequence with the leg going out to the side. But over the years, my hips have opened up quite a bit. And as I said, some days we have those days where things don't go as far. And we just accept that for what it is. Each day is a new adventure. And remember, this is the part of the sequence we want to be very mindful of coming out of nice and gently. Take your time. Back to center. And lift your left leg again. Draw your knees towards your chest. Set your strap aside. Hug your knees. You can rock and roll on your back. Massage your back against the ground. Whatever movements feel good in your back. Reach your feet towards the ceiling. Reach your hands up. Take hold of your legs or your feet, however you like. And play with bending and straightening your arms and legs. Exploring movement in happy baby pose. Perhaps there's a different inversion you'd rather do. Feel free to invert however you like. And invert for as long as you like. When you have had enough time inverting, when you feel complete, you can make your way to your final resting pose, which might be corpse pose or might be something else. You can conclude practice in any position where you can be comfortably still for a few minutes. So it might be corpse pose, legs extended, feet splayed open, hands at your sides. But it's more important to be comfortable than to be in this particular posture. Once you're in your comfortable resting pose, maybe closing your eyes. You might focus on your breathing as a simple meditation, or come back to an intention you had set for yourself to reflect upon it. Or maybe just let your mind wander. As your breath slows and deepens, just as it did at the beginning of practice. As your body relaxes a bit more each time you exhale, bits of remaining excess tension melting off your body and into the ground. Maybe you scan your body as you did at the start of practice, taking in how everything feels. If you noted trouble spots at the start of practice, checking in with those parts of you to see how they're feeling now, to see what has changed. Start to give yourself some deeper breaths. Slowly let your body move around. Maybe wiggle your toes and fingers to start. Working up to bigger movements, letting your ankles and wrists explore movement. Moving your arms and legs more, maybe turning your head side to side. When you're ready for bigger movements, you might draw your knees towards your chest, reach your arms overhead, And let the weight of your limbs tip you to one side, pausing in a fetal position. And when you're ready, ground your hand. Use your arms to press up to a seat. If you like, bring your hands up by your heart. Thank you for sharing practice today. The light within me sees and bows to that same light within you. Namaste. Be sure to visit us online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook. Check out the rest of our schedule. We have classes every day with several different teachers, and always welcome questions and feedback. That goes for the folks watching later on YouTube. Feel free to make use of the comments and tell me what you think. Tell me how to be a better teacher. Have a great day.